Hello family, this is Pastor Mitchell and I just wanted to stop by for a second just to give some words of encouragement to my brothers and sisters today. This week is the formal installation services for pastoring people here at 31st Street Baptist Church. I have the honor of becoming the 7th senior pastor here at 31st Street Baptist Church. And so I won't be taking the pulpit this weekend, but I did want to stop by, provide a word of encouragement, a word that's been on my heart over these last few days. It's been a crazy couple of days that even as we are in the midst of a very contentious political season, we've heard from the Democratic National Convention, we've heard from the Republican National Convention. In Louisiana and Texas, we have storms, hurricanes, Category 5 hurricanes that are making landfall, creating devastation for brothers and sisters, hitting close to home for me as we just moved from the Houston area. So we have brothers and sisters, family in Lake Charles, and different folks who we love and care about who are being ravished by these hurricanes and by these natural disasters. And we still are in the midst of social unrest, even as we have called for justice for brothers and sisters like George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor. Its brothers and sisters are in Kentucky now. Organizations like Until Freedom, who are on the ground strategizing and doing the work to seek justice for Breonna Taylor. And in the midst of that, we get another shock to the system, as this week many of us were made aware of what happened to a brother by the name of Jacob Blake out there in Wisconsin. Shot 7 times as he sought to get back in the car with his children. And then overnight, as protesters were protesting the injustice to this brother, then there was this young man who was armed illegally, who ended up murdering 2 protesters there who were protesting the injustice to brother Jacob Blake there in Wisconsin. And in the midst of all that, he's able to walk past the police. After people are shouting, he killed somebody. He shot one of the protesters. There's video that shows that he's given water. Our brothers and sisters who are part of armed forces thanked for his presence there with the militia, this armed militia that he was with. When we see all of this happening in our world, the truth is it can creep in to our system and our psyche that there's no end to this, that there's no hope for us. We can become helpless. Part of what we saw even last night as brothers and sisters from the NBA, from the WNBA, from various other sports leagues, they boycotted and protested. That was their form of protest at what they're seeing. And if we're not careful, we can slip into a place where we believe that nothing is possible, that change is not possible for us. We'll have to deal with the injustice that we see, the broken systems that we see. I want to remind the family today, the words from the psalmist in Psalm 27, verse 13. One of my favorite Psalms, one of the scriptures that keeps me sane. And it says, I would have fainted. I would have fallen out. I would have fallen apart if I hadn't believed to see the goodness of the Lord, not in the hereafter, not in the great by and by, but if I hadn't believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. The psalmist says, there's so much going on outside that could cause me to fall into hopelessness and helplessness. We've got pandemic, we've got hurricane, we've got protests, we've got protesters shot, we've got injustice and police brutality in plain view on video camera. And if you're not careful, you can fall into your place where you faint, you fall out. You say, God, this will never change. One of the greatest deterrents to the change that we want to see is pessimism being allowed to creep in. It's hopelessness being allowed to creep in. It's helplessness being allowed to creep into our psyche. But I want to encourage you today to find your reason not to faint. Find your reason not to faint. And when I think about all that we see, as much as we see that tells us that change is not possible, that no serious change, that we'll have symbols of change, we'll have signs in the street that say Black Lives Matter, signs on basketball courts, but we'll continue to see these shootings. I would have fainted if I hadn't believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And the reason why I can't faint is because I'm a father, because I've got a son. I've got an 18-month young black boy who I'm raising. And I am determined to do my part and to hand to him a world that is safer for him, that is better for him than the world that we live in now. Family, I don't know what it's going to take to get us to the place where we want to be. I don't know all the work that has to happen. I don't know all the systems that need to be torn down. I do know that I can't stop believing things can change. Because when we allow helplessness and hopelessness and pessimism to suffocate our psyche, we'll faint. We'll give up the fight. So I want you to find your reason not to faint. For me, it's my son. For you, I don't know what that will be. Find your reason not to faint and keep believing that as we fight, we will see change. We will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. That is possible in our lifetime. Keep on fighting. Don't faint. Know that we stand with you here at 31st Street Baptist Church. We love you. We're praying for you, and we're fighting with you. God bless your family.